Right on. So, hello and welcome. My name is Justin. I'm with Charity Charge, and tonight we are going to take some time just to discuss a little bit about Charity Charge working with Moose Lodges nationwide, and just how we can better support your Moose Lodges through our program. I'm joined by Dan Companion. And how's it going, Dan? I'll let Dan introduce himself a little bit about his expertise and what he's going to be sharing with us tonight.
So again, welcome everyone. I'm Dan Companion. I'm the president of the Northeast Moose Association. This is my second term, actually, because of the pandemic. I'm actually in my third year. I've held treasurer, governor, president, and administrator in the lodge positions one way or the other since 2014. Twice I've been Lodge Moose of the Year and been Moose of the Year for the association. I've also had a special recognition for my sponsor and a very good friend of mine, Norm Shaw. We give a Heart of the Community Award, which I was given last year, or I'm sorry, actually this past spring. And I love playing Tommy Moose. I started my career in lodges playing Tommy Moose for our Tommy Moose events, and I absolutely love that whole process of playing Tommy and all the great things we do for first responders. My slogan in the Northeast is that no lodge is on an island. We must assist and help every lodge to be successful through the help of an association, our association. So that's why today I'm taking that step with Justin to help lodges who are looking for this type of benefit or this type of business transaction for their lodge. And we're going to explain why we believe this is important for a lodge to have a lodge credit card.
Outstanding. I will do a little bit of an introduction to Charity Charge for those of you who might not know where we're coming from. Charity Charge is a public benefit corporation that was actually founded in 2016. And we offer a credit card that empowers nonprofits directly. So we offer unique benefits specifically designed for nonprofits, just to help you guys with extending your cash flow and having credit card protections with your everyday purchases. I guess I'll say a little bit about me. I am proud to say that Dan did recruit me to be a member of the Burlington Moose Lodge. I'm about 45 minutes away from Burlington Moose Lodge, so I'm really excited to be able to have my first Moose Lodge meeting soon and come visit you guys in person. More about Charity Charge's profile. To date, we've been able to help strengthen and really just financially, I guess, aid and work towards a more sound nonprofit ecosystem. We partner with about 2,000 nonprofits nationwide across 49 states. We've extended about $20 million in credit card accounts, and we've distributed about $500,000 of consumer card cash back to nonprofits for them to devote that money to their mission. So on the next slide, I do want to talk a little bit, or we're going to explore some of the lodge issues that you guys might be experiencing currently with just lodge spending. So I'll let Dan talk as a lodge administrator and officer about these points here.
Sure, Justin. So as you know, if you are an administrator of the lodge, a lot of times, whether you like it or not, you have to make credit card purchases in the world we live in today. In the 21st century, credit cards in electronic commerce are extremely important. So there's almost no way to get around it. And what will end up happening is you'll have members or officers having to use their own personal credit cards to make these business transactions. And then you're having to go through and reimburse these transactions, sometimes on a constant basis because of the way the world works today. Also, a lot of times, even for me, I've had situations where I've used my personal credit card and literally forgot that I used it. And under this lengthy reimbursement process, that can happen. You can just either forget, or someone didn't turn in a receipt, or you got to find a receipt, and it just gets clumsy and unorthodox. So those are the types of things that I noticed as an administrator in having to deal with, these electronic and credit card transactions.
Right on. Awesome. And then I will talk, some of you guys, I might ask the question for you, you can answer in the chat. In case you guys do currently have a lodge credit card that is under the name of your lodge, there is a risk which is personally guaranteeing that card. So when you personally guarantee the credit card, although the account itself might say it's in the name of the Moose Lodge, it actually increases personal risk for the personal guarantor. So it does report against your personal credit score. And should that account ever default, you would be liable for those charges. So that can pose many different risks. And in the case of, it even does happen at times where, I'm sure the lodge is financially stable. It might actually increase your credit score in that case, or it might show a large amount of credit lent out in your name. I've had nonprofit leaders call me outside of the lodge ecosystem and they say, look, I went to go buy a car the other day and I couldn't even get a loan to buy a car because it's showing that I have, $5,000 or $10,000 extra credit on my name, which turns out to be my nonprofit's card. So we try to separate personal life and, lodge life as it should be. It should be underwritten to the lodge. And then I do also want to mention that Moose Lodges are nonprofits too. And this is something that when you're using a personal card or you're using a personally guaranteed lodge card and you're accumulating air miles or cash back and then using that cash back personally, it starts to muddy IRS waters, and it does go a little bit against IRS best practices. So it's better to keep everything in the lodge name. And then finally, account transition can become extremely lengthy. Let's say I'm an administrator of a lodge and I've personally guaranteed the card, and then the incoming administrator, it's time for them to sign on the dotted line and also personally guarantee the card. They might not feel comfortable doing that, and then I might not feel comfortable keeping the lodge card in my name afterwards, and it can become several months before that situation is resolved. So we just try to keep things simple in that way and keep it all underwritten to the lodge. I'll pass this one back to you, Dan.
Sure. So again, what I also experienced a lot of times was difficulty making online purchases or transactions. Again, if you don't have a credit card in place, then again, and you might not even have someone who has a credit card, then there's situations where the lodge can't get items they need, or can't subscribe to, I use Microsoft Office, for instance, where, to get that now in the day, you could buy Microsoft Office back in the day, but today everything for software is subscription based. So here, again, you're not able to get Microsoft Office on your computer because you may not have a credit card in place to do that. Online subscriptions, again, I just spoke to that. And again, minimizing the risk of using a debit card. When you use a debit card, as you know, that's a direct connect right to your checking account, right to your bank account. So Justin will talk a little bit about this, about the protections you get under Visa, MasterCard, but it is a big deal. And that's another element, especially in the online world, where you want the best protections in purchasing merchandise because fraud is a real thing out there.
Right on. Awesome. I will expand on that in a few moments there. So issues also making Moose international payments. Dan, I'll keep you rolling on this one.
Sure. So I'm sure every administrator will tell you out there that you'll have a member who doesn't have a credit card. They come up and they hand you cash and they want to be able to make that payment, and they can't do it immediately because they don't have a credit card. So I know a lot of people pull out their personal credit card, take the $40 cash, go over and make that payment for that member. That's not uncommon. Again, this gives you a spot where you're making that payment. Now you have that, the charity charge card, and those transactions are now on your statement and you can reconcile it better. Not being able to, again, Moose International AR bill online, again, you can ACH that, but again, an opportunity to be able to bill that through onto the card and pay it off. And hotels, Moose conventions, NEMA, in our case, Northeast conventions, hotels and flights, right? You're not going to avoid, they absolutely want a credit card. So these are, again, issues I know that are going on every day in the lodge homes.
Outstanding. Yeah, so now obviously we've shown you guys a bunch of risks and problems that you might be experiencing, and the natural next step is just to show you how we can solve some of those problems through a 21st century business tools. And I believe, Dan, you do also have a suite of tools that you present to Moose Lodges, and Charity Charge is proud to be part of that toolbox for you.
Correct. Yeah. So absolutely, the Northeast Moose Association has really made it a priority to look at lodges and help them with business operations. And we call it the 21st century tool belt. And again, partnering with the right partners who understand the lodge business, the 501c8, is crucial. And those partners are really showing, at least in the Northeast, when we do this the right way and we get the right partners, that the lodges are more successful. And that benefits everybody, and Moose Heart, Moose Haven, and all the donations we can give to them to support our mission. This charity charge is just another important part of this tool belt that we've been trying to do in the Northeast, and are looking to spread the good word of helping other lodges across the country.
Amazing. Yeah, and I just want to say we are really proud to be part of that tool belt. And here are some of the high level program benefits that might resonate with you. So we do understand, we've gone out of our way to understand Moose International general laws to make sure that when we do work with Moose Lodges, that we abide by those laws and make sure that everything is within the lines there. We underwrite, as I mentioned before, to the EIN of your lodge, and I can't stress enough the importance of that. Everything is in the name of the lodge, and you will build credit history by using the card, and you won't add any personal liability for lodge officers or lodge administrators when using the account. A great feature of our program as well is auto pay. So this is a way that you can automatically extend your cash flow when you're making those payments for hotels and flights. You're able to set up the account, make charges to the card, and then a payment will be automatically withdrawn following your 30-day billing cycle, 20 days after that. So you have that 50-day period, or rather that 20-day period, where you can extend the cash flow of your lodge. There's online card controls in real time, so you never have to worry about not being able to control your cards, have control of your cards. If one is lost, you can lock it right away. Transaction management reporting, built-in credit card protection. So as Dan was mentioning before, if you're using a debit card or for online subscriptions or any purchases really, hackers are out there. I don't want to be that fear-mongering guy, but there are hackers out there, and if they do hack those merchants, they can get your debit card details, and essentially they do have direct access to your checking account. By using a credit card, you have that extra layer of protection, and should they ever make any unauthorized purchases, of course you're protected against that. We partner with MasterCard. There's zero liability protection, so any unauthorized charges won't fall upon your hands. We do offer group discounts through our group purchasing organization. Our program is free to use. There's no annual or per card fees. And I'm part of us, but we have a dedicated support team. Dan can attest to this. I believe there was a lodge administrator that was having a little bit difficulty looking at their downloading their statements. We jumped on a Zoom call right away, went through how to do that, and the problem was solved very, very, very quickly. So these are just a few of our program benefits that we think will resonate with you guys, and that we're excited to offer Moose Lodges just to help support and build your community. And we have some examples here of common Moose transactions that would require a credit card, and that the charity charge card would be useful for.
Sure. So as everybody knows, and some people actually didn't know this, that on the Moose Charities website, that in that right corner where you see donate, you can absolutely make your fraternal unit endowment payment right here on that website. I know I've asked a lot of administrators, and a lot of them still, they write checks like they should and mail those checks in. But again, mail's expensive today, and I think we're up to 54 cents or something for first class mail, or even higher, I guess. So, these are the types of things that there's actually an economy of scale to do it this way. But making your Moose Charities payments, endowments, and things like that are one element here where you have to use a credit card. The next one Again, if you're an administrator or you want to make, again, a membership renewal payment, you have to use a credit card, right, an LCL to make that payment. So again, that your hand is forced there to use a credit card in this case. And again, you want to be able to use a credit card that does not have a personal guarantee to your lodge officers. But this is another transaction that's very common to anybody in the Moose for administrators. Business Prime, I know out there, if we purchase, even for the company I work for at Champlain Chevrolet, we actually have our Moose Heart Child City and School set up so that we can give them the donations that come from purchases on Amazon. But again, same thing, right? You got to use a credit card to make these purchases. So, but another great opportunity for a lodge to support the mission. And who, being a Tommy Moose guy, and we're doing a first responder day here coming up soon. We've bought a bunch of Tommy Moose dolls, and our friends in Ellsworth, they've just recently purchased a bunch of Tommy Moose dolls. And again, when you shop at the Moose International store, you're going to use a credit card. So another common Moose transaction that we see.
Awesome. And
finally, probably some of the biggest are these going to Moose International Convention conferences, flights. These are the things that, like Justin said, they can eat up your cash flow, and having a credit card to be able to do these things is very important in this day and age.
Right on. So I do want to take a few minutes just to go over the application process for the program. If you are interested in working with us, we'd love to work with you just to help support. So you can apply in 4 easy steps here. So the first part of the application would just be to go to the landing page that we have here specifically for Moose Lodges. That helps me to kind of expedite all of your applications and move through that. The second step, which we're going to talk about and make sure it's really clear, because we do want to abide by Moose International general laws, is to submit a dispensation form. So we'll go through the steps of how to submit that dispensation form. After that, you just need to complete the web application online that I'll send to you via PandaDoc, and then submit the 2 most recent year-end profit and loss and balance sheets from QuickBooks, and we can use those financials to underwrite the account into the name of your lodge. So I just want to have the Moose International general law up here just for everyone to see, and just to make sure it's understood that expenditures, unless authorized by the Chief Compliance Officer, must be by official check and only as authorized and lawful. Cash payments are strictly prohibited unless a reimbursement check is immediately written and included in the next appropriate deposit. After that, it says use of a credit card requires membership approval and a dispensation form from the Chief Compliance Officer. So it's really important that we don't skip that step when applying for the charity charge card. And the fax number, I believe, is right below there if you wanted to write it down. I can put that in the chat as well after.
And that's on the everyone for the Moose knows that's on the Moose International website. So that information's there.
Awesome. Great. So then step 2, just expand it a little bit. So at your lodge meeting, you'd have to discuss acquiring a lodge credit card. Just make sure it's voted yes upon, and then the decision is made to acquire a lodge credit card, and then complete and submit that form to the Chief Compliance Officer for authorization. Step 3, so once I receive confirmation that the dispensation form has been approved and everything's ready to go, I'll send over a PandaDoc application, which is just our formal application for the program. And then the access code will I'll let you know what the access code is at that time. It'll be the last 4 of the EIN of the Moose Lodge, rather, or the Moose Lodge number. So then here's just really briefly how to run the required documents. So these can be straight from your QuickBooks profiles. So you would just go into the recommended reports, choose balance sheet or profit and loss statement, select the desired reports, and modify the date range. So for example, P&L report for January 1st, 2019 to December 31st, 2019. Run that report as a PDF, and then just repeat those steps until you have all 4 of those necessary reports, and you can upload that directly into the application or send them to me via email. So this is what the screen would look like on QuickBooks Online, I believe. So just profit and loss and balance sheet. And the balance sheet would be as of the end of the year, so December 31st, 2019 and December 31st, 2020. So that concludes. We want to keep the presentation relatively short. It's a straightforward program. We're excited to work with you. So I have my contact information there, and I want to open it up to any questions that you might have. Feel free to submit a question through the chat, or you can submit a question through the Q&A form. And I'll just wait to see if they come in.
So please, any type of questions or confusion or something we weren't clear on, please go ahead and type the question in the chat box, and we'll be glad to answer it for you, or do our best to answer it for you.
Yeah, don't be shy. And I will say I just want to make sure I get for Mark, if you're still with us, we do have permission to in these types of partnership programs. So typically speaking, we wouldn't be able to underwrite to organizations in Alaska, but because we're working and we understand the Moose Lodge system, we are able to work with organizations in Alaska. And I do see your question here. Is there a minimum revenue requirement to get approved for a card? So typically, yes. So I'll just click answer here. So we do have a typical requirement, which is 2 years in operation and at least $50,000 a year in annual revenue. That being said, for our partnership program, the credit team has been relatively very flexible with those requirements. So we have already underwritten an account that had just under $50,000 a year in annual revenue for that account.
And I can speak to the Northeast on some of the lodges that have applied, working with Justin and the team. They've been very good to us so far. They understand now, they've taken the time to understand how our fraternity works. And that's what makes it such a grand opportunity for us, because we've had lodges, obviously with the pandemic and the situations we've been running into. They have absolutely been approving the cards and understanding that we're getting back in business again. So, you know, we were certainly hurt by the pandemic, but to their credit, they understand our organization and want to do business with us. Any other questions, Justin? Or
I haven't seen it. Oh, I just saw Bruce. Right on, Bruce. Yeah, I'm very happy to connect with you. I think Bruce said he wanted to connect with us outside of the webinar at some point, just to go through some of the nitty-gritty aspects of the program.
Sure, absolutely. Well, that's awesome. I really, really appreciate everyone that came on tonight. I hope everybody is enjoying being back in their lodges again. And Lisa and I love traveling around, as you guys know, all over the place to all sorts of moose lodges. We got the Moosette Mobile in full swing. So we can't wait to see everybody and get around during the upcoming foliage and holiday season. So I can't thank you enough for everybody to support us on this.
Outstanding. Yeah, I'll leave it open. I guess we'll call it around 7:30, Dan, and then like I said, the webinar recording will be made available for everyone, and be happy. Awesome. Thanks, Mark. It's good to have you here. Thank you, Peter. Right on. So this will be the last call for any last minute questions. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and I'll stop the recording, and I will also end the webinar here. So thank you again for joining us, and look forward to speaking with you in the future.
Everyone have a good night. Thank you.
Thanks so much.